Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Sportcat's Daily Gazette. Hello, Wendell. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. So, we had some lagging problems yesterday, and I may have got them cured. I may not have. I don't know. So, we're going to take a look at what's going on in the world. Let me turn this off because I'm hearing myself in my headphones and I'm sounding like I had a stroke. So, all right. Well, we always start off with the FEMA daily briefing. Well, you say, oh, hold on a minute. I got to go back to this comment. Beautiful ladies. Wendell, are you flirting with me? I'm asking for a friend. All right. We'll start off with the FEMA daily briefing, and you will see that, well, the Fed is doing what the Fed normally does, and they're not responding. So I have no daily briefing from FEMA today, but we will push onward because we know there's something going on in the world somewhere. So, all right. So FEMA didn't give us a daily briefing, so we'll make up our own. Today we know is Trump's big speech. I do not know what it's about. But he had a pretty busy schedule. The president and the first lady depart the White House at 8:30 tonight. They arrive at the Capitol at 8:40. 9:10, the president delivers his address to Congress. And then they say they'll be back home by midnight, but they've been up and going all day. So, hello, Chris. Good afternoon. I have not actually. Thank you, everybody. Please remember we are live. Let me start all over again. We are live on Yergs Radio at yergsradio.com, Rainbow Radio, and also our new affiliate, Radio X. You can come over from Radio X, Australia, and join us if you'd like to. You can look at the Para R Normal Guys, 3 words with a Z, and you can follow and join in the chat, or just search out the Sportcat shows. You'll find us and join the chat. We have Chris and Wendell already in here, and Chris is my one that reminds me every day to like, follow, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'd hoped to do it by the end of last year, but we're going to change our goals a little bit because, well, things happen, and we're going to do it by summertime. So it's going to happen. All right, so back to the president's public schedule. I don't know what the meeting, or not the meeting, but well, I guess it's a meeting. His speech tonight at 9 is going to be about. There's a lot of speculation, but I'm sure that it's certainly going to include the recent world events with Zelensky and Ukraine, the tariffs. He's going to have to address the stock market. Thank you, Chris. So there's a lot of things he's got to talk about. So, and there's a lot going on in the world right now. All right, so since we didn't get the daily brief from FEMA, we'll just kind of make up our own. And if you look at the forecast map, let's see if I can make this bigger here. Wait, I can. How about that? We see that up in the northwest mountains of Oregon and Washington and Idaho, there's going to be some snow. Actually, it's going to be a mixed precipitation. In Montana, Wyoming, down into Colorado and Nebraska, it's going to be snow, extending across a wintry mess from North Dakota all the way over to Maine, with some of it being quite heavy rainfall and flooding. Down in Texas, they're going to have some severe storms, some severe flooding, and up, of course, we'll just call it the Midwest down to the south. There's a risk of flooding and all the way extending severe thunderstorms extending all the way over to Georgia, from Tornado Alley down to pretty much all of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. Good Lord. Slow down, Glenn. Talk. There are going to be some possibilities of severe thunderstorms, and I'm going to bring that up here in just 1 second. The current radar will show you that right now the storms are pretty much located from Kansas City all the way down pretty much to the Gulf of America, striking pretty heavily. There's some severe weather that's entering Mississippi and Louisiana at this time. I heard that they were saying Mardi Gras was going to get rained out. I hope not, because a lot of people enjoy that. We are still in a fire and high wind danger in lower parts of Texas. And as this storm continues marching across the south, it's going to produce some tornado warnings. We see actually right now in Grant County, in what is that, Louisiana, it looks as though there's a tornado on the ground according to this. So everybody take cover if you're in Grant County and you happen to be watching me live. That's the only tornado warning I see. But this storm has been unpredictable, and they say by midnight it will be crossing the Alabama-Georgia line into Tennessee, and we're going to get some extreme weather overnight. So thoughts and prayers, everybody. And for our friends down in Radio X in Australia, Cyclone Alfred is still on a dead-end course with Brisbane pretty much heading due west. And it looks as though the latest satellite loop, the eye of the storm is probably not far from the coast. So you can expect some high winds and some tornadic activity there. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty big mess. So in Brisbane is where the main part is, and it looks like it's going to turn to the left, which would be south, going towards Sydney and New South Wales. So down and extending, probably exiting down around Melbourne. So everybody in Australia, our thoughts and prayers are out with you. Buckle in. It looks like it's fixing to come ashore and get kind of nasty. So hang tight. It'll be I won't say a quick moving storm because tracks are not showing it moving very quickly, but it's showing that it's not going to cause extensive flooding, I don't believe. I think of the damaging tornadic, I guess that's what they call them down there, tornadic. Tornadic activity, high winds and rains. I don't know about flooding, but the worst part's going to be the winds. Chris says that I have really picked up my weather game and is a valuable resource for safety. Well, I've lived through a couple hurricanes and tornadoes, and so I'm trying. All right, let's see here. Chris's favorite map, one of my favorite maps as well, the world wind map. And I want to pay particular attention to a couple places here. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the storm front that was marching across the continental United States. Well, yesterday, the center of it was located probably a little bit to the north of Denver. It has shifted south now, and that front is drawing on Gulf air, Gulf of America air, and it's also drawing off some Pacific Ocean. Pacific Atlanta, where is that? And so that's what's causing this storm to be so intense with some high winds. I looked at the other weather map that shows the most recent highest wind speeds, and it was down. I do not know why it was down, but it was down. So this storm is picking up intensity, and it's drawing from the cool air out of Canada, tapping the Pacific Ocean, and now it's about to hit the Gulf moisture air, and it's going to march across the country, and it's going to be pretty strong, and it's going to stick with us a little bit because off of the coast of the east side, the east coast, that front is kind of sitting in place and keeping it to where it's pretty much going to go a direct east, maybe slightly southern, but more to an east pattern. So that's going to extend the rains and storms and severe weather across the south and all the way across, exiting probably Friday out on the east coast. And let's go have a look at the winds down under and see what we see there. We see Cyclone Alfred. It is still sitting there spinning in a counterclockwise. The eye is still off of the coast. And like we said earlier, it is on a pretty much straight course there for, what did I say it was, Queensland? I'm sorry, Australia. My geography down there is not as good as it should be. But it's headed pretty much straight at you in a counterclockwise motion. So, and it's supposed to, when it comes ashore, bank a left, which means it would go south and exit down around Melbourne. So it looks like the front on the west coast is going to keep it pressed off of the center of Australia. So hopefully it will not affect the entire continent. So, but that is the daily wind. Thank you, Wendell. Wendell says he has shared me on Facebook, and I appreciate, he shared me on Facebook. Thank you, Wendell. I appreciate that. So, but you can go and look if you're really interested in seeing this wind map. It's quite unique with what they've done with AI and our technology. And you can go to earth.nullschool, N-U-L-L, school.net, and check it out. It's really a beautiful map, and it shows what our technology is doing for us. So, and it can be a valuable tool for watching the weather. So we're going to continue talking about weather. We're going to go to my other site that I like so much, Weather Warning. And when I first turned this on this morning, it was going nuts. There was all kinds of warnings, severe thunderstorms, and tornadic activity. So, like I said, I love this site, weatherwarnaffirmmatch.com. But yeah, it'll ding, ding, ding when you first go in. Louisiana had the tornado warning, which we just spoke about. And we talked earlier about the wintry weather out in the West and in the Midwest. Let's see. I'm trying to see here. Small gale warning, severe thunderstorm in Louisiana. Texas, a dust storm warning. That's a new one. I hadn't seen that one. New Mexico and Texas are still under a wind advisory. And New Mexico has also got a blowing dust advisory. I can't say I've seen that one before. Interesting. I'm going to just click on it and see if it does. It zooms in on us. All right. So it shows down in Texas that there is a severe dust storm warning. National Weather Service has issued a dust storm warning, and it names all the counties in Texas, West Central Texas, damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. They have activated trained weather spotters. And if you are not familiar with the Weather Spotter program, that's a volunteer thing that anyone can do. Typically, a lot of ham radio operators do it, but anyone can take it. The Weather Spotter courses are available online. Check your local National Weather Service. You'll learn a lot about weather. I've taken both of them as a ham radio operator and an emergency radio operator. And it's pretty fascinating. I took the one on snow, though. That one really confused me. Well, I guess I closed the window, but we were done with that one anyhow. So, all right. We're now looking at the air quality of the United States, and pretty much straight down the middle of the country, up into Canada, just at the tippy top toe there of Michigan. It's all moderate, and it extends down through Kansas City, down to New Orleans, and then there's a little break there, but it then goes down all the way to Texas with some severe sensitivity settings for the middle of the country there in Kansas, and right around probably was at El Paso. So that is your severe, not your severe, but your moderate air quality for today, you can see. And what we saw with the wind blowing, it's probably going to push all this out tomorrow. So hopefully it'll be different. I brought this map up. This is the fire and smoke map. This shows the most recent fires. And we can see most of the fires in the West were quenched. There's a small one out here in, was that Oregon? Yote. It's a prescribed burn, so not to be concerned. And if you remember when we looked at the wind map, how it was pushing, you can see it's pushing the smoke down to Mexico City from Louisiana. Most of the fires are still burning in, well, it's Arkansas, Louisiana, parts of Oklahoma, then the corner of Texas there at Houston are where most of the fires are. Hopefully the rain will settle some of these, but remember, lightning can also start a forest fire. So keep your eyes and ears open for lightning storms and fires. But right now, the storm is doing some good in helping them out in the West. Let's hope it helps us out here in the South, because we still have some fires burning in the Carolinas that are still pretty large, some down in South Georgia and some in Alabama as well. So hopefully they'll get quenched. I know that they can't wait over on Myrtle Beach. They have just been reeked by storms that have been caused by the fire. A lot of people don't realize when the fire gets to a certain intensity, it can generate its own weather, and that's when it picks up its own wind, and it can create pretty much a fire NATO. If you've ever seen one, you can Google one or you can look on YouTube. It's a pretty devastating thing. So it's been doing that on the coast of South Carolina, well, right there at North Carolina too, right at that coastline area, and it's been hard for them to get a handle on. So hopefully the rain will help, and pray that the thunderstorms don't cause any more damage. All right, I pulled up the power grid map. A couple things I want to talk about with this. There's some reports out that our infrastructure is not being guarded as much as it normally is because of things that Pete Hegseth has done and President Trump. That's not entirely true. So don't grab the clickbait headline and see that our stuff is not being protected. What they're saying is the Department of Defense is not doing it. So someone else is. So just rest assured, we are not without being covered. You can see greater than 100,000 people in Texas due to the storms without power. And then you're looking at 10,000 in Louisiana and, what is that, Arkansas? No, that's in Arkansas. Mississippi? Yeah, Mississippi. I don't know. There's also some power outages there. What did Chris say? I also call it controlled burn, but my finger accidentally touches the stove, so I don't have to admit it. You're an epidemic in the kitchen. That's funny. And Wendell says he just lowered the Alabama air quality when he went to the bathroom, and apparently he did number 2. We needed to know that, Wendell. Thank you. Appreciate that. My loyal fans, I love them. All right, we're going to take a look at the event map. I think this was the one causing me the most trouble yesterday, so I changed some of the settings in it. I don't know. The newest news, they're reporting that there was a death of a child in New York. I'm not sure if it was the city or the state from measles, but from what I understand, the case that was confirmed, that's in Montgomery County, the case that was confirmed, it came from outside the U.S. when they were sick. So that wasn't necessarily something that would have been related to the Texas outbreak. But we're going to discuss the measles a little bit more here in a second. Let's see. This is from yesterday up in, where are we looking at? We're looking at New York. In the Upper East Side, there was an apartment fire with 2 firefighters injured and 3 others. And then it looks like this is down around Queens. 6 injured, 1 critical after a fire tore through a home. Moving a little bit further down, we look at Montgomery County, Maryland measles case. And of course, that will be spreading. The count will go up a little bit more. And what do we have here? Traffic disruption, power outage at BWI. That occurred last night. Last night around 9:40. So that's not brand new news, but there was certainly some BWI that would certainly cause some problems. Let's see what's going on over in Chicago. Social incident, public safety, teen shot outside school in Chatham. Local time, that would have been 3:52. That can't be. Oh, that's UTC time. Well, I'd have to pull my UTC map up or time up, but let's see if I can do it without crashing the computer. So that occurred at 3:52 p.m. So they what? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 3 hours ago in Chatham County. It's up there where you are, Chris. All right, moving across the country, we're going to see that the weather is affecting Arkansas, and it's going to be affecting pretty much the whole state. And there's 3 events down in the lower part of Arkansas. Oklahoma. That's the state I was messing up a minute ago. Sorry, Oklahoma. And we can see that the weather is significant right now in Oklahoma with high winds and damaging storms. Let's see if there's anything else going on. It looks like it's high winds. Texas, well, we still have the measles outbreak. And I don't have a new number for you. So I don't know that one has been provided. In Waco, this occurred as an airplane accident. 5 injured, turbulent forces, multiple flights to divert to Waco. I said it happened yesterday. Okay, yeah, we did talk about that yesterday. Guys are let me report old news here. Roswell, this was yesterday. In Air, what was that? Air Industrial Air Center, New Mexico. Storm. Okay. I'll have to. It's weird. It's New Mexico. What do you expect? And what do we have here? Of course, this is probably going to be. They're talking about the quademic. We discussed that yesterday. I never did look up the definition of quademic. Denver International Airport's been affected by the weather, which of course it would be. We discussed the storms up there. Then, of course, the earthquakes in the West. We talked about that yesterday. I think that's pretty much it. I don't see anything too new on here, aside for the storm stuff. And the fires over in the Carolinas are still going pretty good. Evacuations were placed last night. Late last night, too. In North Carolina. And 5 killed in a crash after driver hits tree in Lee County. That occurred last night. 5 killed in a crash after a driver hit the tree. Wow. That's a lot of people. He must have been a van or something. All right, so that's pretty much the United States. I don't think we have much new for Australia, but we'll zoom down there and take a little look-see. Of course, Alfred, we talked about it's headed pretty much due west of Brisbane, and the eye was off the coast. And explosion, this is new, 2 injured in a home explosion in Hurstville, Sydney. All right, so this occurred about 12 hours ago. All right, so that's new. Let's see if I can pull up any details on that. 2 injured in home explosion in Hurstville, Sydney. 2 people suffered burns in an explosion in a home in Sydney's south side on Tuesday morning. Emergency services were called after a report of a house fire on Dora Street, Hurstville, about 8:46 a.m. local. Firefighters found there was damage to the property from an explosion, but there was no sustained fire on arrival. A lot of times, that's exactly right. It's a flash fire. The force of the explosion will blow the fire out. Fire rescue sources from New Wales said photos from the scenes, authorities taking pictures of 2 containers of food-grade nitrous oxide, what appears to be in a red jerry can. They're investigating the cause of the fire. 2 people were treated at the scene for burns by the ambulance paramedics. The man, to believe in his 30s, suffered minor injuries and was transported to Concord General Hospital in a stable condition. A woman in her 30s sustained significant burns and was taken to Royal North Shore Hospital in critical condition. They're still working to determine what happened, including whether it was a gas, what type, and how it was ignited, according to the fire department. All right, interesting. A lot of times with an explosion, it will blow itself out if it's large enough. So, and Air Force, the Australian Air Force Navy rescue Lithuania hit by cyclone while rowing in the Pacific Ocean. I'll pull that article up. That's fairly recent. That was from about 12 hours ago. The Coral Sea, the Australian Air Force Navy rescue Lithuanian hit by cyclone while rowing in the Pacific Ocean. Now, my question is, why would you be rowing when there's a cyclone out there? The Royal Australian Air Force and Royal Australian Navy successfully rescued, we're going to call him an adventurer, who encountered a cyclone. How do you just encounter it? You knew it was there while rowing across the Pacific Ocean. Lithuanian, I have Lithonia on my mind because it's a small town near here. Lithuanian National Uh, Humorous, he's age 44, was attempting to row from San Diego to Brisbane, Australia when he hit Tropical Cyclone Alfred. Okay, well, I guess that could explain it. He made it from San Diego almost there. The cyclone caused the row to be stranded for 3 days in the Coral Sea, located roughly 740 kilometers from the Queensland state coastal city of Mackay. He activated his emergency beacon on February 28th after rowing into stormy seas and rough winds up to 80 kilometers. Yeah. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority received a distress signal and immediately dispatched search and rescue teams. It was tracked with a P-8 Poseidon from the Royal Air Force. They established radio contact, and that was on the 1st. And with the help of the Navy, they dispatched the Navy. They came to assist, and they said in a statement on social media that he has been rescued safely, and he posted a video clip that captured part of the rescue. They wanted to highlight the importance of carrying an emergency beacon at all times and credit this for a life-saving device for a speedy rescue. And they are absolutely correct. There are now devices that you can carry that are probably about the size of your cell phone, and they have 3 buttons on them. 1 is I need help. 2 is send emergency help. 3 is like send the Royal Air Force, Army, Navy, send everybody the highest level of response. Some of the newer ones you can actually communicate back and forth with. So yes, those are life-saving tools. If you go out in the woods camping, or you're an adventurer who is going to row from San Diego to Australia, it's probably a good idea to have that. Oh, mercy. That's a long way. Wow. Good for him. I'll have to look up and see. He was got to be in good condition. Goodness. So we're still experiencing the heat wave in the Northern Territory of Australia, and down in Western Australia, they've had a breakdown of energy supplies. Thousands of Perth homes are without electricity after pole top fires, according to the Western Power Association, or Power. Let's pull that article up. That's interesting. Thousands of Perth homes are without electricity after pole top fire, according to Western Power. Pole top fires triggered by drizzly rain in Perth overnight have cut electricity to thousands of homes and businesses around the metropolitan area. The blackouts have hit suburban Hamilton Hills in the city's south to Conley in the northern suburb. 92,000 customers have been without power as of late Tuesday afternoon. We're into the overnight hours, down from a peak of 40,000, according to the Western Power Association. There was, we'll skim through this. They had blackouts, and I want to figure out if the drizzly rain triggered pole top fires. According to the Power Authority, they said that the utility was working to get power restored as soon as possible. A huge amount of money every year they spend a huge amount of money every year trying to negate this phenomena. I gotta say, I haven't heard of this phenomena. All you need is a light drizzle, and we're in this situation, said crews. So they're working quickly to make the hazard safe and assess the damages, with each pole expected to take 4 to 8 hours to replace or repair. That they're speaking of 4 to 8 hours per pole. And we'll be estimating and communicating as we get more information. It's very early in the process, and this was dated overnight. So we're now into the wee hours, coming up in the early morning hours. So hopefully it's improved a little bit. But there were about 40,000 were initially affected by blackouts, more than once over a sweltering Christmas period in 2021. Interesting. I'll have to see. I'm not familiar with that. It must be something with the electricity sparks the fire on top of the pole with the transformer and takes them out. So, Chris, you said the Australian map has a pornographic look to it. Well, yeah, I guess you could say it's rather phallic. I guess that would be accurate. So, yeah. Yeah, and let's just look at something here. He's going from over here, right there. He's rowing. I'm going to assume he didn't use the Panama Canal. I don't know. So he would have had to have rode all the way down around South America, continued down that path, and probably turned northwest to go up here into in between Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, coming into Australia. Unless now that probably would have been the long way around. So he probably stayed west and went between New Zealand and Melbourne and got caught in the cyclone. It was spinning counterclockwise and it pushed him further up. But that is quite a trek. I wonder if he had an online tracker where you could see his travels. That's interesting. All right. So finally, yesterday afternoon, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did release a press release talking about the measles outbreak. He said it's a call to action for all of us. He did say that it was a highly personal decision, but that we must consider the community as well. So he fell a little bit short of saying go get vaccinated. He's saying that it's still up to you, but you should think of the community. And what they mean by the community is not just the actual physical community. There's people that cannot take the vaccine for health reasons. So they want you to think of those people. So far they're saying that it's only claimed the life of one school-aged child, but we have learned of the one in New York, which, as my understanding was, the child came into the country from out of the country ill already. I haven't got a good follow-up on that. So remember, this is highly contagious. It starts with direct contact from infectious droplets that a person breathes, coughs, or sneezes that is infected. Symptoms include a high fever, cough, runny nose, red watery eyes, and then you get the rash. Most cases are mild. Some complications can be severe, including pneumonia, blindness, encephalitis, which is swelling on the brain. Prior to the induction of the vaccine, virtually every child in the United States had contracted measles, and since the vaccine, we've limited it pretty good. So the Texas outbreak has predominantly affected children. They're citing 146 cases. This was as of yesterday. And if you remember, they were slow to report on this for religious reasons because this came out of a Mennonite community. But of course, it is now spread. It's spread across the borders into New Mexico and California. Actually, no, the California spread was by a person who came into LAX with it. Remember, we are a global community. So healthcare professionals on the front lines are working tirelessly to treat affected individuals and prevent further transmission. If there's a possibility you think you could have come in contact with someone who has the measles, take proper precautions and isolate yourself so that you don't get others ill. All right. So I set this one to today to kind of kill some of the work on my computer. The main story, we know that the C virus is on the decrease in some areas. It's on the rise in others. We're going to have to live with this one for a while. It's going to be a couple seasons before it totally gets out of us. But I set this one for the measles alerts, and we see pretty much most states have had at least a case. I mean, there's some states like Vermont, Michigan, Illinois, some states in the Midwest that have not had an outbreak, but most states are reporting at least one case. So with the most recent, like I said, being up in New York City. See if this has got more. Well, yeah, we'll let you zoom in. New York City, 2 measles cases found in Brooklyn. And I was thinking the one that Texas child dies first in a decade. And see, they're not even reporting on the death. So I'm thinking that came from the airport. Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. I was thinking it was Montgomery County, Maryland. It's Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Big difference. My apologies. New York has issued a health advisory over a measles outbreak in the Finger Lakes. And over in New Hampshire, measles cases are rare, but they now have them. And here's what they're doing. In Wisconsin, there are no cases are reported as of yet. Good. All right, so that little dot means nothing. They're just saying there's nothing. It's wearing this measles outbreak in Wyoming because of a low vaccination rate in the state of Wyoming. It's concerning. Nebraska health officials react to the increase in measles, but are not reporting any. And over here in New Mexico, they are still concerned about the outbreak. We talked about that in Oklahoma. And Arizona, closely watching measles outbreak, but they don't have any. We know the one that came through LAX so it came from South Korea. All right. That's new news. And Utah is at low risk for the measles outbreak because of the amount of vaccinated people. Up in Idaho, they're looking for everyone to help spread the prevention of measles. They don't have any cases. And Montana is still concerned about it. And there's the one case in Washington already. So, all right. So there you go. And I pulled this up because, well, there's some that have grown. These are the weather, I'm doing the air quotes, weather balloons. Some of them I'm sure are, but probably not all of them. You can see, this one started in, what did it start in? Started in the National Forest again? Interesting. It started in the National Forest, and of course, it's being pulled towards Steamboat Springs in Colorado. Wendell says we have a lot of wind in Anniston right now. Yeah, Wendell, buckle up. It's coming for us later this evening. Down around the border, I'm going to guess that these probably aren't weather balloons, but we see several down along the border. That reminds me, I did get a report. Well, once again, they're over the Air Force range coming out of Yuma. Shocking. Yeah. I did get a report, and it is not showing up, of down in Key West, NOAA has their blimp up. And if you take a good look at it, it is a blimp, but it's not NOAA. It clearly says that it's homeland, and it's flying out of Key West, but I have not seen it pop up yet. So yeah, it's a weather balloon. It's a weather blimp. Yeah. Trust me, I'm with the government. This one is from Meridian, Mississippi, and it has turned south towards Baton Rouge. Of course, it's going through those storms. Now, that might actually be a weather one. Let's see. This one, where did it originate from? Huntsville. And it's amazing. That balloon's got kind of a little circle direction there. So it's currently located over... Well, it's moving pretty dang good in the wind. Did it come out of Huntsville, or did it? That's where it's headed towards. No, Wendell, it come out of the National Forest down there, Bankhead National Forest, and it's headed up towards Huntsville. It's crossed over the Huntsville International Airport. What's the altitude on that one? 88,000 feet. So it's not harming anything, but it's up there. I would say that's probably a weather balloon too. Let's see. Some of them give data on what the extreme conditions are. You can really know. Like this one, it says, okay, external temperature is negative 52 degrees. This one may actually be a weather balloon. All right. Chris, did we have any up in Illinois? No, none in Illinois. Some active ones flying over Gaithersburg, which probably come out of, they flew. Okay. We know from the national report the other day that they were monitoring the situation in Washington, situation being the big speech tonight at 9. I'm going to bet money that this one was probably not a weather balloon. It's flying at 16,617 feet. Yeah, it's not. I don't see that it's. So it is reporting negative 14 degrees. But it certainly covered, by looking sideways at some areas that I would think that they would be interested in. Looking over the center of Washington, D.C. Just tossing that out there. So I'm going to bet that's not a weather balloon. I'm going to bet that's probably a security balloon. This one looks like it's on its way down. Where did it come out of? It come out of Bowling Green, just south of Fredericksburg. And no, it's actually at 87,000 feet. Okay. And okay, that can't be correct. No, I'm sorry. It was maximum altitude at 87,000 feet. It's currently at 2,240 feet. So it's descending. And it came out of Charlottesville. So that might have been a weather balloon. But I really doubt that was a weather balloon. There's probably a way of finding out. This one is still currently at 71,000 feet. No, wait a minute. No, it's currently, no, it's falling. It's falling. It's currently at 1,000 feet. So it's descending. Okay, this one's sending some inaccurate data. It's at 72,000 feet. And I can't tell if it's descending or ascending because it's reporting negative 58 degrees Celsius. And it is currently located over, did you say Wendell Bankhead? This one is currently, this one has tracked kind of southwest of Baltimore. So looks like they're trying to put it down in the bay. Maybe that's their goal. But that's all the weather balloons, at least that we know about. There's some out, like I said, on the border that I'm pretty sure aren't. This one over Colorado probably is. So quite a few of them probably are. Quite a few probably aren't. I didn't tell you that. All right. Let's continue on here. Let's see where we're going to go. We'll go here with the top. No, we're going to skip over here real quick. And let me hit refresh because after the tariffs were announced, well, the market went a little bit batshit crazy and dropped, but it is supposedly on the rise now. I'm not a, what do you call it, financial expert, but it looks like it did drop briefly and now it's picking back up. So that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. All right, so that's pretty much all I'm reporting on the stock market. It did drop in the United States. I don't know about the world stock markets, but it did drop in the United States, and it is now picking back up. Top scores from yesterday in the sporting world. Well, we're about to enter March Madness, so college basketball is the first in line there. Duke and University of Houston, UCLA, and Jackson State were all winners. We'll talk about bracketology here in just a few minutes. Over in the NBA, the Heat, the Thunder, the Kings, and the Pistons were all winners. In Norfolk State won in women's college basketball. In the NHL, the Panthers were the winners. And we're going to close that window for the moment. Yes, we are. In Australia, once again, looking at cricket, Australia lost to India 264 to 267. I'm sorry, Australia. Somebody needs to teach me cricket. I'm really curious about it. So what'd you say, window 4? Watching 3 has hit the button. That's right. Everybody needs to hit the thumbs up button. Wendell's keeping on charge of this. Everybody that's watching, please hit that thumbs up button. So we have some NASCAR history here. Since 2018, there's not been a female competitor. Catherine Legay will make her NASCAR Cup Series debut this weekend at Phoenix, becoming the first woman to compete in a Cup race since Danica in 2018. The 44-year-old female is a native of England and will drive the number 78 in Sunday's Shriners Children 500, according to the Motorsports Association. She has 5 career starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, most recently at Road America in 2023. Entering the NASCAR Series is a dream come true, she stated. Racing stock cars has been an incredibly fun and new challenge that's giving me a renewed sense of vigor for this sport. As always, I'm grateful for the opportunity to do what I love, and I'm inspired by all of the effort preparation behind the scenes that goes into it. She's raced multiple series over the years, including IndyCar, which she's had starts in last season. She has 4 career starts at the Indy 500 in 2023, set a record for fastest qualifying time by a female. She finished 39th in the ARCA, ride the Dante Cup at the Daytona International Speedway last month after being involved in an early accident. She will be sponsored at Phoenix by Venture Studio, Droplight, and Shiflet Companies, a real estate and construction development business. She's one of 9 women to have raced at the Indy 500 and has 4 career victories in motorsports. And she's participated in the Rolex 24 at Daytona. She's also competed in Pikes Peak Hill Club. 44 and doing a start in NASCAR. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. So hopefully, I wish her a good run. I know that it's hard to compete with the boys, but she's a little bit older. So, yeah, good for her. And while I was doing this, it reminded me I'm not covering any motorsports in Australia, and I need to look that up. I know that they have rallies and they have motorcycle races, so I need to check out the motorsports in Australia. If you follow the NFL, you definitely know the name Jimmy Johnson, whether as a coach or a NFL Fox contributor. He's a Hall of Fame coach, and he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's also won a college national championship. Last year, if you remember, at the end of the season, they had a weird AI video of Jimmy Johnson from his beginnings to where he currently is in his career, with AI drawing him as a younger person and using his voice to sound younger. It was a really awkward AI video, but it was worth the watch. It showed him pretty much from the beginning of his football career, where he played with somebody by the name of Jerry Jones, all the way up to his Fox broadcasting. So he's announced his retirement, and he says that it's been a remarkable adventure for the past 31 years. I did not realize he was 81 years old. He made it Monday during an appearance on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. So he made that announcement yesterday. Most fun I ever had in my career, that's counting Super Bowls and national championships, was at Fox Sports, adding that he loved working for the CEO Eric Shanks and Fox NFL Sunday producers. But I've made an extremely difficult decision. I've been thinking about it for the last 4 or 5 years, and I've decided it's time to retire from Fox. I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss all the guys. I'll see them occasionally. It's been a great run. It started 31 years ago. He's been a co-host alongside Kurt Menefee, Terry Bradshaw, and Howie Long. Michael Strahan did 2 stints with Fox. Johnson did 2 stints with Fox for totaling 25 years. He was hired in a pregame of 1994 and spent 2 seasons before leaving to become the manager and coach of the Dolphins in 96. And he was with the Dolphins for 5 years and returned back to Fox. All right. Well, congratulations to him. He lives down in one of the best parts of the country, the United States, that is, Key West. And I believe, if I remember correctly, he lives on a yacht, but he may have, he says he has a home in Key West, and moved to Los Angeles last season. I hope he still has the place in Key West. Key West is so great out there. So yeah, good for him. I think probably be looking for Terry Bradshaw to announce that he's retiring. He said he wasn't going to, but I think for health reasons, he probably will. But good for Coach Johnson. As much as I don't like him because he was a Dallas Cowboys coach, I liked him for his game analysis. It was hard to beat his coverage. So, all right, jumping over to the NBA, Kyrie Irving has a torn an ACL, and it's a brutal blow for the Mavericks, so he's going to be out the rest of the season. So yeah, the long-term injury is a cherry on the top of the season that the season can't end quick enough for Dallas. So unfortunately, he is out for the year. His neighbor is probably Jimmy Buffett. Well, I hope not, because Jimmy Buffett passed away. So All right. Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean, and we haven't seen him for 5 years. If you know anything about Dolly Parton, they've been married for 60 years. She's a legendary country performer, uh, business entrepreneur. Uh, it's it's crazy the things she's done. Her husband Carl, though, he has always been behind the scenes, even to the point of people suggesting that there have been affairs with Dolly, and he's just kept a quiet eye to it or blind eye to it. So, but tragically, yesterday, husband of 58 years, he passed away at the age of 82 in Nashville. And people are saying it would have been a decade since he was last seen in public. Carl and I spent many wonderful years together, Dolly said. She is 79. In a statement shared on X, words cannot do justice to the love we shared for over 60 years. Thank you for all of your prayers and sympathy. During the marriage, the two were adamant about keeping their private lives completely out of the spotlight, and he was last photographed in public in 2019 outside their Tennessee home for the first time in 4 decades. Because while he spent over 60 years being the Jolene singer's biggest fan, he had decided after accompanying to an event in 1967 that the glitz and glamour of Hollywood was just not for him. So she said, I ran him in tux and begged him to go, and he recalled on the Dumb Blonde podcast in December, he was uncomfortable the whole night. He said, now I want you to do everything you want to do, and I wish you the best, but don't ever ask me to go to another one of these damn things because I ain't going, she said. And he never did. They did not show their affection in public on extravagant nights out, but they did give an occasional hug. It's important to have someone in your corner and know they'll love you for just who you are, Dolly said. There's great comfort knowing that someone loves you exactly for who you are because he fell in love with me before I became a star. They were quite a dynamic difference between the two. She was outgoing and the big-breasted blonde, and he was the quiet backstage farmer. So apparently she left 2 boyfriends in her hometown before getting into the relationship with him and marrying him right after graduating high school. Well, that's funny. She met him walking down the street on her way to the laundromat the day she arrived in Music City. And it was love at first sight. He was driving by in a white Chevrolet and he called out, "You're going to get sunburn out there, little lady." They got to talking and it fell for him. He fell for me. She wrote in her 2020 book, telling the songs of her life. They were 18 when they first met. And she recalled how he towered over her when he was 6'2", and he had 22 years in the asphalt paving business with his father, and he was bronzed from outside work. She did not hop right into his car. You got to know somebody or they may take you on a back road and kill you. It's funny they even thought that way 18 years ago, or 58 years ago. And did invite her to meet the family and all that good stuff. So and if you look at Dolly Parton then, you look at Dolly Parton now, you'll notice some subtle changes that are quite larger. Could be the breasticles. Oh, Dolly Parton. If you're from East Tennessee, you love her or hate her. There's a big divide there. Updating on the Gene Hackman story. Really, they're still waiting on toxicology reports. They're still waiting on reports back from the cell phones. During the Oscars, there was a tribute to them. The 2 were found dead a couple days ago, and they're home, and the deaths have been ruled suspicious. And so they're trying to figure out official times of death, which they have pretty much an official time of death for Gene, which would have been 17 February, because that was when his pacemaker finally stopped working. But they were found a significant time period later with decomposition and bloating and mummification to the bodies. They were found dead in their homes 26 February when deputies responded to what believed to be a break-in call. He was found to believe in a mudroom. Apparently he had fallen suddenly. The search warrant said he was wearing sweatpants, long-sleeve t-shirt, and slippers. She was found in a bathroom near the front door of the home, according to the warrant, The door was open to the bathroom. She was on the ground wearing sweatpants and sweatshirt. An open orange prescription bottle and scattered pills were on the countertop near her body. Space heater was also seen near her head, and one of the dogs was found dead in a closet. It was in a kennel or crate. The dog's cause of death is also unknown. No immediate signs of foul play, no signs of carbon monoxide, and they're still trying to determine a timeline from the cell phone and digital activity, the digital fingerprint we all live in. So as we know, his career was, from before I was born. He retired 20 years ago. She was born and raised in Hawaii, and she was a concert pianist. Interesting. She was 11. She performed at the Honolulu International Center Concert Hall, and later in life, she played with the Honolulu Symphony Orchestra. I did not know that. She worked part-time in the California Fitness Center in the 80s. And he does have three children, 2 daughters and a son by his first wife, Faye Maltese. His daughters, Elizabeth and Elise, and granddaughter Annie, confirmed his death in a statement on Thursday. He was loved and admired by millions around the world for his brilliant acting career, but to us, he was just dad and grandpa. We'll miss him sorely, and we're devastated by his loss. So they're still waiting on toxicology reports to get the latest information. All right, let's jump over here real quick. I know I'm going to torture everybody that's not interested, but it's getting close to the time for March Madness. Female college basketball is always up first. We have an SEC championship to play, and game 1 will be coming up pretty soon this weekend. Texas A&M at Tennessee is at 11 a.m. And then game 2 is Georgia at Arkansas. Game 3 is Missouri at Mississippi. Game 4 is Auburn at Florida. And the winners will go on to play either Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, or Vanderbilt. They got the second seed. The first seed was South Carolina, Kentucky, Texas, and LSU. They will be waiting for them on games 9 through 12, which will be played in 2 weekends, I believe. And we will go from there. So that's the SEC. The ACC, I'm only going to highlight the major conferences. And by the way, we just lost Radio X Australia. I forgot to thank them for tuning in. And remember to come over to the Para or Normal Guys with a Z. Just search it out. Or find the Sportcat shows and you can join the chat. In the ACC in women's college basketball, Boston College, Syracuse are the first face-off with Virginia and Pitt, followed by Stanford and Clemson. Those winners will go on to play Louisville, California. Actually, one of those games has already been played. It's Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech will play. And then North Carolina will face the winner of Boston, Syracuse. So that's in the ACC. I'm only going to hit the major ones. The Big Ten, game 1 will be Minnesota at Washington, Rutgers, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, and followed up in the number 2 slots. We got Indiana, Oregon, and then Michigan, Illinois, Michigan State. And the first seed is USC, and Maryland, UCLA, and Ohio State will await their winners. Over in the Big 12, we will have game 1. Most of these are carried on ESPN. UCF, University of Central Florida, will play BYU. Houston will play Colorado. Arizona State will play Cincinnati. Texas Tech will play Kansas. And they will go on to face either Kansas, Arizona, Iowa, or Utah, while Oklahoma State, Baylor, and TCU and West Virginia await to see who will be playing them. As it stands as of this morning, and it looks like number 1 Texas will be in, obviously. And teams that, let's just start with teams that are on the bubble. Teams on the bubble, the last 4 in, would be Washington, Minnesota, Princeton, Harvard. And the first 4 out would be Virginia Tech, Arizona, Marquette, St. Joe's, followed by George Mason, Stanford, Murray State, and Seton Hall. With the last 4 buy-ins could be Oregon, Indiana, Nebraska, or Iowa State. So as it stood this morning, Texas would play either Southern or North Carolina or Austin, Texas. Georgia Tech would play Cretin. I don't know. These are all just speculations on how it will break down, but Big Ten will probably have 13 play in the conference championship. SEC followed with 10, then ACC by 8, Big 12 by 7, Ivy 3, and Big East, which you hardly ever hear of, will be 2. So it's all speculation right now till we get the tournament ones in. So as far as the SEC, ACC, and all those, their tournament. What did you say, Wendell? 2 have left, and I'm going soon. So, well, I guess sports bores some people, and that's okay. But I want to try and give everybody something. In the men's bracket, pretty much the last 4 in could be Ohio State, Arkansas, Nebraska, or Boise State. And the first 4 out could be Oklahoma, Xavier, North Carolina. And number 1, Auburn is a guarantee in. Looks like they could play Southern or Bucknell. And I didn't see where Tennessee was, but it's all speculation. Tennessee could play Norfolk State, but it's all speculation depending on the conference championships. All right, so the one last thing I want to cover is some firefighter injuries. Graves County, which is in Kentucky, a firefighter was injured while responding to a fire in Graves County. It was a structure fire, and they arrived at the scene, and he was taken to an out-of-state hospital. Okay, fire crews were at the scene of a firefighter when Jenny Buckman, 48, was injured. She reported was then taken to an out-of-state hospital. She was doing good, sore, and moving slowly. She will be okay. Doesn't really say what happened to her. In Miami, the fire that injured 4 firefighters. It was a 3-story unoccupied structure. It was under renovation. Fire was sparked while the building was under renovation. Monday night about 6:30, they found heavy fire and smoke coming from all 3 floors. They battled the blaze for 2 hours. Said one of them fell through the floor. And he was working on the 2nd floor, and he fell through the 1st floor. He landed. He was safe. He made his way out. He was evacuated immediately, but he was taken to the hospital. The 2nd firefighter suffered 2nd-degree burns to the ear and forearm. Although the building appeared to be vacant at the time, they still went inside to conduct a search. The reason they do that is because there could be squatters, and their lives are just as important as anybody else. So we always go in and look. Basically, the building was nothing but a frame when it was done and turned to soot. Soot, not suit. All right, so this is Union County, and it was Union County, Mississippi. The courthouse is lit up red after the death of a local firefighter. Pinedale volunteer firefighter Terry Dykes fell from the front of a fire truck. It was a brush truck. It was critically injured while responding. According to officials, he was taken to North Mississippi Center in Tupelo, where he died of injuries. He was also a detention officer at the Union County Jail, where he worked with his daughter. He was a good man. He was dedicated to his family, his job, his friends. He loved volunteering and helping others any way that he could. He will be missed. So that was a firefighter line of duty death. And I was going to take you to the National Fallen Firefighters page and show you that he's already been placed over there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 so far this year. 13 firefighter fatalities for 2025. Looking at police, there were several police injuries, and I'm not going to cover a police injury where a bad guy was shot and killed. In other words, the police officers engaged with him and they killed the bad guy, because some of those are controversial and could cause a little bit of, I don't know what the correct word would be, controversy. So I'm going to stay away from those stories, but there didn't appear to be any recent injuries, and we're still sitting at 13, and let's hope we stay at that number line of duty deaths for this year. And I believe that is it. for my updates for today. I got through it, well, in almost an hour. I'm trying. And Wendell, you said you're the only one left. Well, thank you, Wendell, for hanging around. And yes, prayers to all the families of the fallen firefighter and to the injured firefighters and police officers as well. You can catch me every Wednesday night on the Paranormal Guys if you're not taking in the show here. I'm also on the Thin Line Rock Station every Tuesday and Thursday from noon till 1400. That's 2 o'clock for you civilian folk. And I also do an occasional Misfits show on Saturday, so you can check that out as well. I don't know if I'm allowed to announce it yet, but we are going to have a new show on Monday nights. It's going to be headed up by Amanda and Shay. It's on a topic that I'm not very familiar with, but they're going to be talking all things horror. The Two Broke Witches are on hiatus for a while, so we'll see what happens there. And then Wednesday night, we still have the regular Paranormal Guys. Wednesday night, as in tomorrow night, we have two great authors lined up. I believe they are both return. So if you've seen them before, Trisha and Ann, that was a great show. And we're looking forward to them returning, talking about their new books. So that'll be tomorrow night. Until, I guess, then, I don't really have much going on. Hopefully, I have managed to keep everything under control in the great state of Tennessee, and I haven't had the need to return home just yet. So hopefully, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. If you want to get in touch with me, you can go to speakpipe.com/Sportcat. You can leave me a voice message, or you can always drop me an email at sportcat@protonmail.com. You can also find me on most social media as either the Sportcat Medic is pretty much my two titles. I'm on X, Facebook, Instagram. I'm other places, but I don't remember. But those are the main ones. Chris, thank you. Wait a minute, Wendell. I'm not sure what you mean by the comment. I'm going to be looking in a mirror. You didn't even comment on shave today, Wendell. I'm kind of disappointed. Thank you, Chris. Update roughly for any of you following. I've had some family illnesses in Tennessee. None of them have required hospitalization yet. Just keeping a close eye on them. And as a paramedic, I'm always overly concerned. And I do not ever like to say the words call 911 because, well, I was 911 that responded. So I'm making sure that they're taken care of. So hopefully I won't have to go up there, but we'll see. So if I ghost you, that will be why. I've already been talking to my son about how I can set up the laptop to do this show, since I share screens and have so much going on, if the laptop would handle it. And he assured me the laptop would, and that I just needed to buy a new monitor. So best spot here, I come in Knoxville if I have to go to Tennessee. So if I ghost you guys for a few days, that's where I'm at. I will still try and do my normal Paranormal Guys. And I try and maintain my Thin Line Rock Station. The Thin Line Rock Station, I try and maintain my boss jock status there. So, yes, this will be a happy horror story. The Monday night show, we're starting next Monday night, I was informed. In fact, let me see here. Maybe I can give you, let me see if I can bring this up here. I can give you a slight tease of it. Maybe. I think. Let's see if I can bring this up real quick before we get out of here. Yes, Shay and Amanda will be doing it. I understand Casey might even jump in there too. So I'm kind of excited about this. Let me see here. How can I do this? Let me just download it. Yes, download it. And open it. Open. There we go. Here we go. I'll bring this screen back up again. And this is the girls, not me. Just remember that. Because I know nothing about this subject. I really don't. They said they wanted to do a horror show. I was like, a what show? Like, want to do a show on horror. I'm like, what the hell could you show about a horror? And they're like, oh, we have all kinds of things to talk about. It will be called Monday Night Horrors, hosted by Amanda and Shay. So there you go. Starting next week. I'm not sure if it'll be an 8 or 9 o'clock show, but there you go. Monday Night Horrors. Shay is probably at work or asleep and can't get in here. I know Amanda's at work, so she can't jump in the chat. She usually catches us on repeat. But yeah, that's all the news that's fit to print or fit to yak about, I guess. If nobody has any questions, I appreciate everyone. Remember to please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and share this to all your friends. We're trying to get it out there where we do some news daily. And if you haven't heard my little spiel, everybody has a show talking about why the world is going to end today, right now, tomorrow. I mean, there's some of these guys that go on there. Oh, guys, you're not going to believe. And why are they always sitting in their freaking car? Why? I don't understand it. They're sitting in their car looking at their camera like the world is going to end and they're going to drive away. What the F? So anyhow, my show is supposed to be a little bit upbeat, talking about why we survived the day that the adults were in charge. I'm sure I'll have a lot tomorrow to talk about with the president and his speech. God knows what bombshells he'll drop. We're probably going to bomb some country I've never heard of. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody that was watching. Hopefully, I will see you soon. Everybody have a great day, a great Tuesday, and I will see you Wednesday afternoon. Thanks again to Ross at yergsradio.com and the Rainbow Radio Network, as well as Radio X in Australia. We also have a new affiliate. I'm not sure if they're carrying this show out in Florida, an FM station. We'll be talking more about soon. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you soon.